going to move on to our next section, which is Forbidden Books of the Bible. Ooh. We're doing the Enoch episodes, returning after a hiatus because we've been traveling.
Yes, and been way too busy to deep dive into all this.
Yes, but we've deep dove into chapters 49 through 57.
Yes.
So we're going to tackle those real quick. So 49, this chapter describes how the elect one,
I was going to do a little recap of where we left off just because It's been 3 weeks. So here's a little brief recap. So we're currently in the second part of the Book of Enoch, which is the Book of Parables. And this is the second parable. So kind of the second vision Enoch had that he described here. And we're halfway through the parable starting in chapter 49. In chapters 45 to 48, Enoch was explaining a vision where he saw someone who he calls the Son of Man. And the Son of Man is described as a messianic type figure who will be worshipped, and that he was named or begotten by the Lord of Spirits. And in this prophecy, it says that he will rule over all the nations of the world, bring judgment on the wicked, justice for the righteous, and be worshipped and praised by all mankind. So now we can kind of jump right back into chapter 49.
There we go. So chapter 49, this chapter describes how the elect one, quote, standeth before the Lord of Spirits, and his glory is forever and ever, and his might is unto all generations. It goes on to praise both the Lord and, quote, the elect one, which we can assume is Jesus.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the Son of Man, the elect one, is definitely a messianic figure. And one thing I liked from this chapter is that it says that within the elect one, or the Son of Man, dwells the spirit of wisdom, the spirit of understanding, the spirit of might, and the spirit of insight, which really is connected to a couple verses in the Bible, like Isaiah 11, which talks about a coming Messiah who says he will have the spirit of wisdom and understanding and counsel and might. And also 1 Corinthians 12 says that Christ is the power of God and the wisdom of God. So I kind of like that they're saying this elect one, he's glorifying him as like a messianic figure like God who knows all things, which I found was very interesting.
That's good.
Yeah.
Do you want to tackle chapter 50?
Yeah. These chapters only have like 3-4 verses in them.
Yeah,
so
real short.
Pretty simple. So chapter 50, it says that in those days, and so throughout the Book of Enoch, it's talking about a future time of judgment. So that's what we're talking about here. A change will take place. And for the holy ones, or the righteous, and the wicked and godless will be removed from the face of the earth. And that the godless will not stand in the congregation of the righteous, nor sinners in the council of the just. Which is pretty much a direct reference to Psalms 1, which is the first chapter in Psalms, which says the godless will not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous.
There you
so I
go.
thought that was kind of cool. So they're looking towards a future day when wickedness will be removed from the earth.
Mm-hmm. And then the chapter finishes by saying the judgment on the unrepentant will be without mercy, and the unrepentant will perish before him. So kind of a downer note.
Yes.
But
but he's really big on like the big difference. Like you are only either righteous or wicked.
Yes.
There's no in between.
There's no middle ground there.
Yeah.
The next chapter, 51, details how in those days the earth shall be given back. The earth shall give back that which it has been entrusted to it, and Sheol also shall give back that which it has received, and hell shall give back that which it owes. It says that the elect one shall in those days sit on my throne. So this is the Lord talking at this point. And his mouth shall pour forth all the secrets of wisdom and counsel. For the Lord of spirits hath given them to him and hath glorified him.
You must have like a King James version of this.
It also says at the end that the mountains will leap like rams, and the hills also shall skip like lambs satisfied with milk. I thought the lamb satisfied with milk was probably the most interesting part of the chapter, so I wanted to get to that. What were you saying?
It just completely flew by me.
The King James thing?
Yeah.
I'm reading the same book you're reading. So.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe what I pulled up, because mine doesn't have hath It has
Yeah, the online version doesn't have that.
Okay. They might just made it a
the
little
book
bit more
does.
reader friendly.
Yeah.
So what do you think it means when the earth will give back and Sheol will give back and hell will give back what it's received?
I think since we're talking about the day of judgment, it means that they're going to be judged. It's giving back everything so it can be judged before God.
Yeah. So I think, it's like the dead will come to be judged, like everybody will be judged. Because in verse 2 it says that the elect one will choose the righteous and the holy from among those that the earth gives back, and they will be saved, and the others will enter into judgment.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what did you mentioned you liked the hills will
It was just weird. At the end it says the mountains will leap like rams and the hills shall skip like lambs satisfied with milk.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, because I'm like, I feel like I've read this before, and it's actually in Psalms 114, which is talking about Israel being freed from captivity, which is kind of hearkening back to the dead being freed from Sheol and hell to, be with the Lord. And it says the mountains leap like rams and the hills like lambs.
There you go.
Yeah.
Connecting it right back.
Kind of cool. Another short chapter.
Chapter 52, I wanted to mention this one first because I think it's interesting how it starts. Enoch sees a mountain of iron, a mountain of copper, a mountain of silver, and a mountain of gold, and a mountain of soft metal, and a mountain of lead.
You kept thinking those were going to end. You're like,
I did.
And?
Yeah, it's later in the chapter, it's revealed that to Enoch that the mountains of metal that he saw will melt like wax in the presence of the Lord, which is a verse in Psalms, and they shall become powerless before his feet. It says, there shall be no iron for war, nor shall one clothe oneself with a breastplate. Bronze shall be of no service, and tin shall be of no service, and shall not be esteemed, and lead shall not be desired. And all of these things shall be destroyed from the face of the earth. So I thought it was cool, A, that they're going to melt like wax and tying that back to Psalms, and B, that there's no need for metal anymore.
Yeah.
There's no need for gold to purchase things. There's no need for copper and silver for that same reason. And there's also no need for weapons. And so, why would you need metal?
No need for money and no need for weapons. I found that really interesting. Yeah, later on in the chapter, it talks about these mountains before the elect one melting like wax and becoming powerless before the Son of Man's feet. And it says that it will come to pass in those days that none of them shall be saved, that gold cannot save you, silver can't save you from the judgment. And so I found that was really cool. And it then goes, which I was like, where have we seen metal in the Bible? And actually in Daniel 2, King Nebuchadnezzar has a dream of a giant statue that's made of gold, silver, bronze, some translations say copper, iron, and soft metal.
Oh, there you go.
And in this vision, he sees a mighty rock strike the statue and then transform into a huge mountain that fills the whole earth. And so Daniel gives interpretation to that dream, saying that these mountains, the metal, are different kingdoms.
Yeah.
And that the God's kingdom will rule over them all. So it's kind of like another picture of the mountain of gold or silver or copper are like kingdoms of this world that will all get flattened.
That could definitely be it too.
Yeah. Kind of interesting.
It's cool.
All right, chapter 53, Enoch says, then my eyes saw a deep valley with an open mouth, and all who dwell on the earth and the sea will bring to him gifts and presents and tokens of homage, but that deep valley will never become full. And that the people who bring these gifts to this valley are lawless and wicked, and they will be destroyed. And he says that he saw angels of punishment dwelling within this deep valley, and they were preparing instruments of Satan.
Yeah, he asks the angel of peace who they're preparing the instruments for, and the angel tells him that they prepare these for the kings and the mighty of this earth, that they may thereby be destroyed. So this could be pointing to the kings that rebel against the Lord in Revelation. So in Revelation 19:19, it says, and I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army.
Wow, and then they all get destroyed. That's a cool connection.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find it interesting. So it's kind of like a picture of, earlier on in Enoch, is chapter 27, they see an accursed valley where all the wicked are held and being punished. So it's maybe a tie back to that, where people are trying to satisfy wickedness or like earn favor from, well, it says that the angels there are preparing instruments of Satan. So they're trying to appease Satan, and it says that they can't ever like give him enough that the valley will be filled, and that they'll be punished instead.
Yeah, and it's interesting because in the next chapter we're about to go after, it goes a little bit deeper into what's going to happen to the angels who followed Azazel.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the kings are punished, and then now we're going to hear about how the angels are punished. So Enoch sees a deep valley burning with fire. The kings of the earth are cast in. Enoch also sees chains, and upon asking the angel of peace about them, he's told that they're, quote, prepared for the hosts of Azazel, so that they may take them and cast them into the abyss of complete condemnation, and they shall cover their jaws with rough stones, as the Lord of spirits commanded. He continues to say Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Phanuel will cast them into that burning furnace, and the Lord will take vengeance on them quote, for their unrighteousness in becoming subject to Satan and leading astray those who dwell on the earth. It ends describing how the Lord said he will destroy the earth with a flood, opening the chambers of the heavens and the earth beneath.
Very interesting.
Yeah, so it kind of switches subjects there at the very end.
Yeah. And I really liked this chapter. I found it interesting talking about, so the kings of the earth, like kind of like these mountains of metal that we saw before, are going to be destroyed. But then we focus on Azazel and his army, his angels. So Azazel was one of the few fallen watchers from the early part of the Book of Enoch that we hear about his judgment, which was that he was bound up in chains and then buried in the desert with rough stones piled upon him. And it says again in this chapter that those who follow Azazel will be thrown into the valley and covered up with rough stones. So kind of like, that this valley of fire is for the fallen watchers, which reminded me of, there's a verse somewhere in the New Testament that's like, there is an eternal fire prepared for Satan and all of his angels. So kind of a thing back to that.
Yeah.
But then we weirdly get into kind of the flood narrative, the Great Flood, which was mentioned at the end of this chapter into chapter 55, where it talks about the Lord of Spirits, or the Ancient One, flooding the whole earth and making a sign in the sky. And that would be like the rainbow that we read about in Genesis. And that he did this because of the great tribulation and pain that the watchers caused upon the earth, which is interesting because Azazel specifically was the watcher who taught people how to do war and to make weapons out of metal. So kind of this tie back to that, but it's kind of a reiteration of the flood narrative. And I don't know if he's kind of recounting it from the past, I think is what he's like, this is kind of why it happened.
Yeah, or if it's in the future.
Could be.
It has yet to happen.
Right.
So chapter 56, after he says all that about how the Lord pledges to never destroy the earth again after the flood, it says that the hosts of the angels of punishment go and hold, quote, scourges in chains of iron and bronze for the elect and beloved ones, that they may be cast into the chasm of the abyss of the valley, which... chasm of the abyss of the valley. It's like, how much deeper can you get?
Real deep.
Yeah. It goes on to say that then the valley shall be filled with their elect and beloved. I think I wrote that wrong. Oh, okay.
Elect and beloved.
Elect and beloved, and the days of their lives shall be at an end, and the days of their leading astray shall not thenceforward be reckoned.
Yeah, so I had to really dig into what this chapter meant. So we're kind of jumping, so like ignore the whole flood narrative. That was kind of popped in there randomly. But we go back to these angels of punishment that we had seen preparing, they said, weapons of Satan for this valley. And they were scourges and chains of iron. So I looked up what scourges were, and they were whips made of chains, pretty much. Yeah,
that's cool.
And so the angel said to Enoch, and he explained to him that these chains are made for their elect and beloved ones, speaking of the fallen watchers. So who are the beloved ones of the fallen watchers? They're their children, which were
The Nephilim.
the Nephilim. So there's finally going to be a judgment upon the Nephilim, because earlier on it had talked about, remember, like, these are demonic spirits because they don't have bodies, so they can't be buried in the earth and die, but they can't be in heaven. So it says that they will finally be, that the valley will be filled with, pretty much the children of the fallen watchers, and that the days of their lives will come to an end.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And they can't lead people astray anymore.
Yeah, their destruction shall be at an end, and Sheol shall devour the sinners in the presence of the elect.
Yeah.
That's how the chapter ends.
Yeah.
And then chapter 57 is rather strange to me. It says that Enoch sees a host of wagons and men riding them coming on the winds from the east and from the west to the south. And the holy ones of heaven noticed the wagons because of the noise coming from them. Mm-hmm. Then the, quote, pillars of the earth were moved from their place, and the sound thereof was heard from one end of heaven to the other in one day. And they shall fall, it says they shall fall down and worship the Lord of spirits. And this is the end of the second parable.
It literally says
That's what they say.
This is the end.
This is the end.
Yeah, so I find it interesting. So I think it's all connected to what's gone on earlier in the parable, which is that wickedness will come to an end, that God will judge the wicked. He's going to judge the fallen angels. He's going to judge the children of the fallen angels. He's going to judge those who rage against him. And so all of that culminates in the last chapter, like, hey, they all get sealed up in Sheol and hell forever. And so I'm imagining this then, like the host of wagons coming from the north and the east and the west being the righteous ones, like those who are not wicked, the only people left on the earth coming to worship the Lord is kind of how I interpreted it. But
it definitely could be.
I just love how it's like all about judgment, 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 valleys, abysses. Here's like 2 verses on people coming to worship the Lord, and the end.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. What was your takeaway from
My
this
takeaway
parable?
is that it's a very strange parable.
Yeah.
It has some biblical linking, but other than that, it's rather confusing
Yeah.
more than anything. Like the higher concept parables that they're trying to get across are lost. And I think that Jesus did a good job of saying the parable and then explaining it to the disciples later.
Yes.
Whereas Enoch seemed to have done none of that.
Yeah. He's like, the end.
Yeah. I mean, he asks the angels sometimes and they explain it.
Yeah.
But other than that, not really.
Yeah. No, my big takeaway from this parable is that there is an elect one, a son of man, who is all that is righteous, and he has the authority to judge all that is wicked. And that is all the kingdoms, Satan, fallen angels, all of that. And that the righteous will be with the Lord.
Yep.
So kind of summing it up, and we'll hop on to parable 3 in a week or 2.
Yeah, in a week or 2.
Yeah.
There we go.
We are more excited about this than we may seem. It's just very late.
It's very late at night and I still have to edit this. So we're going to keep moving.